I'm going to teach you a mind-blowing but extremely easy card trick that is nearly self-working and will make you look like an absolute pro. You can show this trick to anyone right now and absolutely blow their minds. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the performance. So for this trick, the spectator can touch any card and remember it. Let's say it's this card right here, and then they'll mix it and they can shuffle the deck and lose that card as much as they want. Now you as a magician could go through the cards and try to find their card, and that would be good. But it would be even better if they could find their own card. Now what they're gonna do is start mixing up these cards, dealing them, mixing them, shuffling, throwing them in the pile, mixing, shuffling some more, dealing and stopping whenever they want. They're gonna stop somewhere before about half, so we have about half the cards here. So let's say they stop right about here. Now again, we don't even know where their card is. This is truly impossible. They've mixed it up. There's no way they could find their card at this point. But what they're gonna do now is deal the cards into two piles. Now it doesn't have to be one and one like this. It can be a couple here, anything they want. We're just further mixing up the cards so that their card is completely lost in the deck. Now they can cut these piles wherever they like, and now they've made two decisions, right? From all this chaos, all this shuffling, all this mixing, they had one card that they just thought of. They've mixed up the cards. We don't even know if their card's here. These are truly impossible conditions, but we're now down to this moment. They've made two decisions. What I want them to do is pick up these two piles where they cut to, and they're gonna set one down on the table. So they set this pile down, let's say. Now they've cut to one card out of all of these cards, all other 51 of these possibilities that are all different, and they cut to one card. And for the first time, what was the card that they just had in mind? And it, of course, was the Jack of Hearts. What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today I got an awesome little effect. It's got a couple of different ideas from different people kind of put together. I've seen some people perform similar versions of this, and I just kind of put my own spin on it. It's sort of a spectator finds their own card, sort of self-worker, easy type trick, but with my touches and performance, you can really take it to the next level and make this a great street magic or worker type trick, and something that I've always really loved to perform. And I'm going to give you a ton of different ideas and spins on this trick. Now, if you guys would like any more help, if you want to learn some incredible card magic or mentalism directly one-on-one from me, you can check out some private lessons at the link in the description. And if you'd like to learn the best mentalism and some of my best effects right here on the channel, you can sign up for my mentalism membership right here or at the link in the description. But with all that said, guys, let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into the video. So the way you saw in the performance is a different version with a couple of different spins on it. There's a ton of different ways to do it, but I'm going to start teaching you kind of the bare bones of the method, and then I'll give you some of my bonus ideas. So this effect is super easy, nearly self-working. You just have to remember the steps. So for this effect, you need to start by forcing a card. And there are several different ways to force a card. If it were me, I would do my handling of the spread force. So if I'm forcing the 7 of spades, they can go through, they can touch this card, but it doesn't matter. Wherever they stop, it will be the 7 of spades. Now I can show them this, close up, and have them shuffle right away, and it's super fair. It feels so fair, so out of my control, yet I know what the card is. So if you want to learn the spread force, I will link that up there. You could also do a riffle force. I really like doing the back slip force for this. You riffle, they call stop, and you're gonna pull this out, leaving the card behind, but you're gonna turn your hand this way and point and say, if you would have stopped one more, you would have had this card. Your card is this one. One less would have been this one, but you stopped right here. And that's, of course, your force card. So at speed, that looks like this. So call stop. Let's say they call stop right here. They could have stopped one less, it would have been here. Their card's this one more would have been this. So literally any card's possible, but of course they stopped on the 8 of hearts. So if you want to learn that and some other riffle force variations, I'll link a video right up here. So either way, you want to force the card. Now you can also do a peek for this effect. You can do this peek where you go through, they stop. So this case, it's the ace of spades. And then you just riffle it off like that and you hand them the deck to shuffle. And in that, you can get a glimpse, get a peek of the card. I love that peek. Or you can do everybody's peek, which just simply looks like a dribble. They call stop, you show them the card, and in that you get your peek. And then they can shuffle right away. So I'll link a video to some peek options up here. Either way, the goal is to have them pick a card that you know the identity, but there's no way that they feel like you can know what it is. And now they're gonna mix up the deck and truly randomize it. Quick pause in your regularly scheduled program. I just wanted to quickly announce that I will be hosting another exclusive group lesson at this date and time right here. Now, if you don't know how the lesson lessons work. Every participant gets their own 10-minute exclusive block to talk one-on-one with me, where I can answer any questions they have card magic mentalism related. I can critique your sleights and effects, help you with effects, or any other questions you might have. Not only that, you get to watch the entire lesson and learn from all the different questions and subtleties and effects that I might go over while answering everyone else's questions. And to top it all off, at the end of every lesson, there is a bonus 20-30 minute jam session where you jam with myself and all the other attendees. You get more opportunities to ask questions, and sometimes you even get some incredible bonus effects that I teach that I haven't taught anywhere else. Now, if you are interested in the next group lesson, make sure to go sign up at the link in the description. There are only 10 spots available, so spots will fill up quickly, so make sure you jump on it, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next lesson. So now we're going to set up the premise for this effect, and I really love the premise. It's kind of the idea that, you know, it would be cool as a magician if you found their card, because, you know, you're a magician, but it would be even more impressive if they found it. So you pick up the cards, and what you say is, look, as a magician, you know, I could go through and try to find your card, and maybe I would, that might be a good trick, but, you know, if you were to try to do it, if you were to try to find your card, that would be much more impressive. And in that, I've actually accomplished something super important. I've done the move, right? There's a move that happens that's hidden by that premise, and I've controlled the card to the top. So all I'm doing is simply going through the cards till I spot their card and cutting it to the top of the deck. Now that's super easy, but you have to hide it and make sure it's well motivated. I'm just looking for their card. So in this case, the Jack of Hearts, I'm looking through. So you say, look, I'm a magician. So if I went through these cards and found your card, I mean, that would be a good trick, but it would be much more amazing if you could go through and find your card amongst all this chaos. And again, I've controlled the card to the top. So it's key here that you kind of break it up a little bit. You don't want to go like this. You don't want to go, you know, speed through the deck and then do that, right? It's very obvious that you've just done something. You want to talk, spend your time, and break it up. So you go through a couple, you say, look, I'm a magician, right? If I were to go through these cards and try to find your card, like that might be a good trick. But it would be much better if you were to go through and find your card. Now you're going to stop when their card is in the right hand like this at the end of the spread, and don't worry about them seeing it, right? All this motion, you're going through like this, you pause, you keep your hands moving, you can tilt them towards you slightly, and you say, look, you know, I'm going to go through and I could try to find your card, but it'd be much more impressive if you could do it. And now I have their card here, and now when I close the cards, instead of putting it here, I'm just going to put it right on top. A key to make it not look so much like a cut is, instead of just doing this, bring the hands apart, say something, say it would be much better of a trick if you did it, and then when you bring them back, the card just goes on top of the deck, right? So it comes from here, you say, look, if you were to do it, it would be much more impressive. And you just set it down. It doesn't even look like a cut anymore, but it was. So I like to do the move a bit early before I finish talking. So around the time when I'm about to switch and say, you know, it would be a better trick if you did it, is when I want to complete the move. Because then you get this nice moment. You go through and you say, look, if I were a magician, like it would be a, you know, a pretty good trick if I were to do this. But now I've done, I've set it down, and I can keep talking, and this will be kind of forgotten about. So then I'll say, but if you were to do it, it would be much more impressive. And you can give a little spread, you know, just to further kind of settle that all in. And in that, you've got the control. Now you can also do the cull if you want to learn the cull. I've taught that up here. But basically the cull would look like this. It's just a more covert way of doing it. But you go through and you say, look, you know, I'm a magician. I could have, you know, it would be a good trick if I found it, but it'd be much better if you did it, and you get it in a cull in that way. Now that the card is on top, the rest of this is just self-working and knowing the procedure. But it's great. It's very easy. So you're going to hand them the cards with their card now on the top, and you're going to tell them to start dealing. And once they deal their card down, right, once they set one card down, you can say the next part of the line. I usually have them deal a few, so I'll let them deal 1, 2, maybe 3, and then I'll say, look, you can deal, stop here, shuffle the cards, and make sure they stop and shuffle. You know, some people, you'll say it, but they won't do it, but you really want them to. So you say, no, stop, give the cards a shuffle, mix them up, and then keep dealing. You can deal chunks, piles, keep shuffling, and whenever you want, I want you to stop. Okay, stop whenever you'd like, about somewhere around halfway. So let's say they stop about here. Okay, and now just reiterate. Say, look, you've stopped wherever you want. We don't even know if your card's here. This would be truly impossible, but you've stopped here for some reason. So what I want you to do is pick up the cards and now just start dealing one at a time into 2 piles. Now, some people don't like dealing tricks, but again, this is such a small packet. This is gonna go by pretty quick. And as they're dealing, you can say, no, it doesn't have to be 1 and 1. You can deal multiple at a time in each pile. Just make sure that they don't deal chunks of cards like this, because that could screw you at the end. Because we know their card is now on the bottom of this packet, right? Started on the top and they dealt it first, so now it'll be on the bottom of this packet when they go through and they deal the singles. So what I like to say to make sure it's clear that they're not dealing multiple, they're dealing one, but they can deal multiple into each packet. It doesn't matter, right? I just say deal one at a time, but you can deal left, 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 right, left, right, 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 left. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be, equal. So then they'll go through, and because their card's at the bottom, no matter what, their card's going to end up as the top card. The last card's going to end up at the top of this packet or this packet. It doesn't matter if they put it here or here. It's going to be their card. You just have to keep an eye on where it goes. So let's say they set it here. Now, for the final step, and how I used to do this a lot, is I would say, look, you shuffled the cards, you mixed the cards, we don't even know if your card's here, but for some reason, you chose to stop on these two cards. And then I'll say, hold out your hand, and I'll set those cards face down in their hand. And you really want to make this moment feel like they chose to stop here. Yes, they just dealt, and it's the bottom cards of the packet, but you reframe it as if they chose these. So you say, look, you, out of everything, you stopped on these two cards here out of all 52. So you say, hold out your hand for me. You place these in their hand, and we're going to use a bit of Magician's Choice or Equivoque. Now, if you want an Equivoque masterclass, right up here, I'll link to a video where I've taught all about Equivoque. But essentially, you just have to know where the force card is, what hand it's in. And that's just wherever they put the last card. And now what you're going to say is, I don't even want you to think about it too much. Just go off feeling. Whatever feels right, just extend that hand forward, okay? Don't think about it, just any hand, extend it forward. And now whatever they do, we're going to still end up with this card. So if they extend this hand forward with the force card, you'll just take it and you'll say, perfect. Out of all of these cards, you could have had any one of these, right? You had all these choices, they're all different. You stopped on this card right here, and you go into the reveal. Now, if they sent this one forward, then you say, okay, just drop it on the table. You're left holding one card out of all 52 of these cards, right? You can spread it, recap at this point, say it's all different. Make sure you bring up and really instill the connection and remind them everything that's happened. Really recap this effect, really bring them in, really have them understand everything that went down and everything that happened. They need to recall that it was shuffled and random and they did everything. Those are the things you want to remind them about in the recap to really get the best reaction out of this. And either way, they're left holding this card, and now you say, for the first time, what's the card you were just thinking of? Now say just thinking of rather than the card you picked. Again, it's just creating these false memories that are really going to enhance everything that happens here. And now again, once they reveal it as the Jack of Hearts, you say, well, look, out of all 52, you narrow down to one card, take a look, and it is, of course, the Jack of Hearts. Now I want to talk to you guys about a few spins that I've put on this effect and some ways to take it to the next level. That's kind of the simple version, but there's a lot of things that I love to do to change this. And one of my favorites is to implement another sort of phase, another moment at the end of this. So once you're at this position where they've dealt two even piles and the force card's on top, what I like to do, instead of just taking the top card of that packet, I make it seem like they cut to any card. So what I say is, take your right hand and your left hand and just cut somewhere in each of these piles. So they'll cut and you say, set those in front. Okay, so now they set them in front, and now you casually just take these back two and you set them on top. You don't have to say, I'm going to mark the position or anything. We're going to use the crosscut force. If you'd like to learn the crosscut force, here's a tutorial for that. But now here we need to add a bit of time misdirection for the crosscut force to work. Basically, they've really cut to this card, but we're going to make it feel like this is the card they cut to, which just happens to be the top card. So now I simply do the recapping. I say, look, out of all of these cards, right, they're all different. You shuffled, you mixed, and you're just thinking of a card, and for some reason, and now I come over top and I remove these to make it seem like, again, this is where they cut to. So I say, but for some reason, you cut to these two cards right here. And again, I'll have them set out their hand, place the cards in their hand, and once again, do the Equivoque Magician's Choice to narrow them down to this final card. I'll say just stick a hand forward, they stick this one forward, and I say, and you narrow down to the Jack of Hearts. That final decision is going to be so clean no matter what they do that they'll even come back to this moment and say, why did I put this hand forward, or why did I put this hand forward? And it's really a thing of beauty. Another thing I like to do is have one person kind of finding another spectator's card. So if you have multiple people, you can get several people involved in that way. So in this case, you're just going to force the card onto one spectator, right? I'll force the Jack onto one, and then another spectator, I'll say, look, you don't even know their card, but you're going to try to find it, and I'll do the whole procedure on them, and they'll end up finding that person's card. Another thing you can do is, because it's a force, now you can do all kinds of predictions with this as an extra kicker. So not only does the spectator find their own card, but let's say you hand them an envelope with the name of the card written down on it, and you can do a prediction, right? I could do it with my tattoo here with the Jack of Hearts. You could do lots of different options. One way that's great if you have a deck on you is to force the mate. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have, say, the Jack of Diamonds on top and the Jack of Hearts on top of the deck. Or you could start with one on the top, one on the bottom, depends what forces you're gonna do, but let's do two different forces. You're gonna force the first card, but you wanna force it in a way where they can't see what the card is. So let's use the backslip force. So I go through and they call stop here and I say perfect. One more would have been this one, but you stopped right here. And when you reassemble the deck, just make sure that other Jack just goes right back on top. And now one spectator can sit here with their hand on this card. Have them put their hand on it. It's gonna, get you a better reaction and draw more impact to the effect. So they're gonna keep that safe. No one knows what that card is. Now you give this deck to the other person and you go through the process, right? Jack of Diamonds is on top. They go through, they stop. Then they deal two piles, one at a time. They should be dealing one at a time. And then they'll end up with a Jack on top. You can implement the cross-cut force thing, and then you say, look, out of all these cards, you've cut the two, put one hand forward. Let's say they go with this hand, and now you say, look, out of all 52 cards, all different, you shuffled, you guys did everything, you've ended up on these two cards, and they end up being the mates, right? So like a beautiful little prediction style effect. There's just a ton of options that you can do to really take this effect to the next level. Now, if you wanna learn one of the best pieces of self-working magic that you can use to absolutely astonish your friends and family, check out this video right here and you can learn it right now. All right, guys, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed. It's a fun little effect. You can really take this as a piece of mental magic, mentalism, or just card magic. And I love some of the additional ideas where you're getting other spectators involved and just kind of building, and you're gonna get much better reactions doing this effect that way and treating it differently. I like the premise of this. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. If you like these tutorials and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you'd like to check out some private lessons, you can at the link in the description. Or if you'd like to join my Mentalism membership and learn some of the best mentalism content here on YouTube, you can also check that out at the link in the description. Now, with all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.